I've been using Airbnb for 10 years. If you're new to Airbnb and wondering how to book your very first trip, or you're just curious about the platform and want to know a little bit more before you actually commit to your first stay, then this video is for you. Because in this video, I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know about Airbnb as a beginner. Now, if you're looking for something specific, then please feel free to look down and check the time cards, and hopefully that will help redirect you to find exactly what it is that you're looking for. So before we really get started, let's first talk about what is Airbnb and how does Airbnb work. So Airbnb is an online platform that allows people to list a room in their home or an entire property out to travelers who are looking for a place to stay in a particular city. Now, Airbnb doesn't own any properties. They just work as a middleman between the person who is looking to list out their space or their home to the actual traveler who is looking for a place to stay. As someone who has used Airbnb for a long time, who's very familiar with the platform, I can tell you that it has changed a lot. So the idea originally was a fantastic alternative to hotels for travelers that were looking for more of a local experience. So I know for me, some of my favorite Airbnb experiences and stays have been back when I first joined the platform. And I think early on, back when Airbnb was a little bit more new, there was a lot of emphasis around a local experience and around hosts. I have so many memories of sharing a meal with hosts, really getting to know them, and in turn, because of that, I feel like I got to know a lot about the city's culture, their food, their language, recommendations on where to eat, where to go, what to do, what not to do. And back then, I feel like you really did have a more local experience. But since then, a lot has changed for Airbnb. And I'm just gonna keep it real with you because I have to be honest, it's just not that way anymore. Now, does Airbnb still have a place in our, travel sphere? Yes, I think it does. I mean, it's changed a lot for sure, but I do still think it has a place. But before we go into how to actually book your very first stay in an Airbnb, I want to quickly go over some important things to know before you actually book your very first stay. So the very first thing that's important to know about Airbnb before you even start booking is that there are different types of stays and experiences that you can have on Airbnb. So for example, you can stay in a room in someone's home or apartment, or you can book an entire apartment or house. So staying in a room in someone's home might actually sound a little bit, weird. And again, things have changed a lot, but I actually prefer doing that when I'm staying internationally because I think for me, that is a really good way to get to know the culture and a good way to get local recommendations. And in some instances, I know that I've stayed where there's another room that another traveler is staying, and then you can link up with that person and travel the city together and explore. And sometimes those rooms come with their own private bathroom. Sometimes they even come with their own private entrance. So it all depends on the Airbnb that you're staying in. You can also stay in entire homes and entire spaces by yourself. And this is really great if you're looking for privacy, having a big group trip, a girls trip, or a family trip. You can also choose the type of home and accommodation that you want to have. Airbnb is at this point really known for having unique stays. And so if you're looking for something that's a little bit more out there, a little bit more unique, you can stay in a tree house, you can stay in a tiny home, you can stay in a yurt, you can stay at a room or an accommodation in a national park. There's just so many options. If you are curious and you want to know a little bit more about what a unique stay actually looks like on Airbnb, then definitely check out this video. This is where I take you along with me at a tiny home stay that I did on Airbnb. The second important thing to know about Airbnb is that every stay is different. Airbnb is certainly not a one size fits all. Every host is different, every experience is different, every accommodation is different. You might have hosts that are more involved, that really want to get to know you, and then you might have hosts that are a little bit more hands-off and prefer to just let you do your thing. Check-in times might be different depending on the Airbnb that you're staying at. House rules might be different. So every single stay is different and unique in and of itself. While every Airbnb might be different, what is pretty standard across all Airbnbs is that every Airbnb has a set of rules and amenities. When you're booking your first Airbnb, you want to make sure that you are checking those house rules. They're very, very important. Rules for each Airbnb can definitely vary from how much noise you can make in a place to where you can and cannot park to what you can and cannot use inside the home. Another thing that all Airbnbs have are amenities. Every Airbnb will tell you what they have and what they don't have, from washers and dryers, parking spaces, air conditioning, heating, all that sorts of stuff. So another important thing to know about Airbnbs, which is slightly controversial, but it's something important to know before you book, is that some Airbnbs can be illegal. So Like I said before, Airbnb has changed a lot over the years, and I think that it's taken a little while for laws to catch up. And I do know that in some cities, they are currently working on new laws and regulations regarding Airbnbs. So I know, for example, in my hometown of Atlanta, there have been some new rules and policies and groundwork laid out for Airbnbs, which is ultimately going to affect Airbnb in the future as these laws and these new conditions begin to be rolled out. I also know that New York City has had a hard time with Airbnbs. Barcelona and other Western European cities have also had their fair share of Airbnb issues regarding legal and unregistered Airbnbs. And it's definitely something to consider if you're using Airbnb for the first time. You know, I happen to enjoy staying at Airbnbs, and I have never really had a major problem up until this point. But if this is something that doesn't sit well with you and makes you want to reconsider trying Airbnb or using Airbnb, then definitely use your own caution and, you know, maybe try other accommodations instead. Let's talk about actually booking your trip and how to do it. So let's go into the website together, and I'm going to show you how to book your very first stay on Airbnb. In order to actually book your very first stay on Airbnb, you need an account. So you have to create an account with Airbnb. And creating an account on Airbnb is super easy. You can sign up with email, you can sign up with Google, Facebook, and even an Apple ID for those of you that are in the Apple ecosystem. Once you have created your account, it's really easy and tempting to go ahead and dive in there, start searching, finding a place, trying to book it. But before you do all of that, the most important thing to know about your account is that it needs to be completed and it needs to be verified. And this is really important because as much as you're looking for the right place to stay and you're also looking for the right host, a host is also looking for the right person to stay, and they're also vetting you as much as you're vetting them. The more details you have, the more clear your profile is, the better. Now, don't go adding too much personal information on there, okay? But the more areas you have filled up, the more likely your reservation is to be accepted by a host, and also it shows not only Airbnb but also the host that you are an authentic and real person. So things that you want to include in your profile is you want to have a clear picture. If it isn't an instant book and you do actually have to meet your host, you want to be able to be recognizable, and you want the host to be able to confirm that that is you. You want to have a nice meaty about you bio area. Now again, you don't have to put too much personal information. I am not a fan of that. I'm a private person, so I get it. You might want to consider putting things like favorite areas to travel to, why you like traveling, things that you like to do for fun, hobbies, things like that. Anything that you can put that's gonna allow hosts and other travelers to really connect with you and see a little bit more of your personality. So Airbnb, just like any other online platform, you wanna make sure that you're being safe, and one way to do that is to make sure that you have confirmed and verified information on your profile. So there are different ways to verify and confirm your Airbnb profile. You can confirm through your identity and your ID. You can also confirm through email, and I believe through phone number. And doing all of this, having your profile verified and confirmed, also helps you, again, build trust on the platform. Airbnb is like any other online platform, you know, very similar to social media accounts. They are prone and susceptible to being hacked. So you want to make sure that your password is solid. I hate to say it, but Airbnb profiles and accounts are known for being hacked. I have personally had my profile hacked, unfortunately. Okay, so now that your profile is set up and everything is confirmed and verified, now the next thing for you to do is to start looking and searching for your perfect stay. If you're finding this video helpful so far, definitely give it a like and subscribe to this channel. Also, if you're big on social media, definitely feel free to find me on TikTok and follow me at KRod Collective. I'm very active on there. I love TikTok. At the very top where it says anywhere, any week, you want to be very specific and you want to go ahead and choose your destination. Just for example sakes, I'm going to go ahead and pick a destination that I know really well, and I'll go with Barcelona, Spain. Then you want to choose your check-in dates. Then you want to go ahead and choose the number of guests. Usually I travel by myself, so I'll go ahead and put 1. Now, with this information that you're putting in, you want to be as accurate as possible, and here's why. Depending on that information, Airbnb is going to spit out results, and that information and the results that they spit out can be very different depending on what you put in that initial search. They've got the stays over here on the left side. On the right-hand side is a map. And this map is really useful. My favorite thing about this map is that you'll notice that once you move the cursor around, the different options for stays and accommodations that are given to you will change. That is a function that I believe you can turn off if you're not into that. I don't remember how to do that, but if I figure it out, I will put it down in the description box below, or I'll leave a pinned comment down below so you can check that out. So something really important to note about Airbnb is that they're not going to give the exact address of the places to stay until you have booked a place. Closer to your stay, they'll give you the actual address. So really what they're giving you on the map is more of a general idea of the neighborhood and the area that you'll be staying in. If you're using the app, it's just as effective. So at the very top of the app where it says where to, you want to put in the exact same information. On the app, what's a little bit different is that the map is on the top and the photos and the accommodation options are on the bottom. When you're booking your very first stay on Airbnb, the one thing that is really important that you want to pay attention to is that little box on the right-hand side that says filters. If you are looking on the app, there's a little symbol button right on the right hand side of the search area, and you're going to click on that, and that's going to give you all the filters. You want to think about what is important for you in booking a stay. So you can filter by price, different types of stay. When you are searching, you can also search not only in a different language, but you can also search in a different currency. So I want to stop for a second and talk about the top tier stays, which Airbnb has something called superhosts. So superhosts are hosts that have met a particular standard within Airbnb, and they have something known as a super host status. They'll have a small icon on their profile. So full disclosure here, superhosts are allowed to bump up their fee and charge a little bit higher for their stays. So now I have heard people say that booking with a superhost is really neither here nor there, and it's not really that important because the requirements to become a superhost are not that rigid. While I fully understand that argument, I don't know if I necessarily agree. I don't know. As someone who solo travels a lot, it's really important for me to stay with hosts that I know have been really vetted and that are meeting those requirements, as minimal as they might be, which I don't really think they are. And I do know that to maintain superhost status, they are reevaluated with that status every 3 months. Plus, I also don't do well with people who are not reliable, and so I find that a lot of times when I stay with a superhost, I tend to find their response rates to be a lot higher. There is also something called Airbnb Plus. These are homes and stays that have been verified in person through Airbnb, very similar to the superhosts, but it's more about the accommodation over the persons. Now, I don't really know that much information about the Airbnb Plus, but I will link information down in the description box. Definitely make sure you're checking the description boxes. There's a ton of information down there about everything that I'm talking about in the video. So you want to make sure you're checking out the pictures. I like to make them big just so I can check every single picture to make sure that it looks legitimate. So make sure you're zooming in, you're checking to see that there's no mold, you're checking to see that it's clean. There are also amenities that are there that are important to you. So you want to make sure you're seeing that. You also want to make sure you're checking out the host's profile. So another thing that you're going to want to check out, which is really important, one of the most important things, is the reviews. You want to spend an exhaustive amount of time in the reviews because that's going to give you an idea of whether this is actually a good place to stay. People really give a lot of stuff away in the reviews. If you've found a place and you've decided, okay, this is the place that I want to stay, I would say go ahead and message the host, ask any questions that you might have. In this exchange, you're going to find out, first of all, the host's response rate. Second of all, if you ask a lot of questions, depending on the questions that you're asking and if they're within reason, if a host is getting upset or is kind of bothered by the amount of questions you're asking or the type of questions you're asking, then it might not be the right fit for you and it might not be a place that you want to stay. But remember, be kind, don't give too much personal information out. And this is the money that you're spending and this is time that you're going to be spending there. Now, once you've done all that, the last thing that's left for you to do is reserve and book. And with some places, it's an instant book. With some places, you're requesting to book. So the host might review your profile, whatever is there for them to review, and they decide whether they want to accept your request to book. So once you put in your request to book, there is an option on Airbnb now where you can pay in full or you can pay in part. You are charged as soon as you make a reservation if you decide to pay in full for everything except for, I believe, the security deposit, if there is one. But the host won't actually be paid until I think 24 hours after you have arrived, after you've checked in. I think that's a policy. I could be wrong, but again, if I am, I will put information down in the description box below. So now after you booked your stay and you're confirmed, you should then be getting a confirmation email and a message through Airbnb from your host with all of the information on your stay, depending on how far out your trip actually is, and you'll get all of the good stuff. Get another copy of the house rules, you get the check-in policy, the checkout policy, also get the actual address of where it is that you're staying. If you're traveling alone, this is also information that you're going to want to share with your loved ones, with your friends and family. Airbnb hosts will be very specific, they'll be very detailed, and they'll give you a lot of information. If you're using public transportation, which trains to take, which stop to get off, which streets to walk. You know, if you're driving, they'll tell you which highway to take, which exit to get off at. And then there's some hosts that might not be as specific, but it's okay. Again, if you need extra help or if you're curious, definitely feel free to reach out to the host because that's what they're there for. And I'm sure that they can provide you with any missing information that you might need. Something else that's really cool about Airbnb and that I love is that if you are doing a group trip or you're traveling with a friend and they also have an Airbnb account, but you're the one who actually happened to book that trip, you can add someone else who has an Airbnb account to that itinerary, and all of the information about the Airbnb will be added not only to their account, to their reviews, but also that itinerary will be emailed to them. Now, it is important for those of you that are concerned about scams and really what information you need to know about picking the right Airbnb. And I'm going to cover that in the next videos. So definitely make sure you subscribe and you stay tuned. I'll see you next week with some really important Airbnb tips. Bye.